Hello, today I'm reacting to the downfall of AEW in 2023 by Top 10 Wrestling. I think this is the perfect time to do it. This video came out 3 weeks ago, but I'm reacting to it today. And again, it was perfect because I just made a video on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. It is the video right before this. I pretty much stated that people just need to chill. Just chill and relax, because I've seen it all over AEW socials. I see it in my comments because I do a lot of AEW content, and people are just spamming AEW's dead. AEW's dead. Ha 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 ha. F you, Tony Khan. Like, chill. I get it. CM Punk returned to the WWE. He mentioned AJ Lee on Monday Night Raw. Randy Orton, R-Truth, they're back. There's rumors that Sasha Banks might return to the WWE as well. Wrestling fans are acting like this is the first time ever that major stars have returned to a company. To proclaim that AEW is dead is just ridiculous. It was the first Dynamite after everything that happened over the weekend, and I enjoyed myself. I thought it was a 4 out of 5 Dynamite. It was a solid Dynamite, and I do think that they are expediting the Devil unmasking and the Devil storyline because they need to do something. And I'm okay with the CM Punk return to WWE. I like it because guess what? Now AEW, Tony Khan, they have to step up their game, which means just even more great wrestling. And at the end of the day, who wins? Us, the wrestling fans. I feel like there are a lot of tribalistic fans, and those were the keyboard warriors in my comments. Tell your mother, bro.
I mean, come on. Get this guy out of here.
I don't care.
So AEW has been making some very questionable decisions recently.
You guys are not even giving me a chance. You're starting this off with Ric Flair. Come on, man. You're not giving me a chance. You're not giving AEW a chance. My first thought to this was, why? Why? We actually do not need this, and we did not ask for this. But I understand why they brought him back. You know, Sting is on his way to have his last match. But also, Ric Flair's promoting his energy drink. So I'm like... Yesterday's segment, it was so... I could barely understand what Ric Flair was saying. And then during the Rampage taping, apparently they gave him the mic again for some odd reason. And he says something about, to all the women that are in the age between 18 and 28, come back to the hotel and leave your boyfriends. I really think they want to hear that from a 70-year-old man.
Recently, most notably for the fact that they signed Ric Flair to a multi-year deal. That's right, 2,000-year-old prehistoric wrestler Ric Flair has been signed to a multi-year TV contract in the great year of 2023. Please, for the love of God, just don't let him wrestle. AEW, for me personally, is starting to lose its identity, and it's starting to no longer feel like the alternative. What's up, guys? It's Tom Thompson Wrestling here, and today we're talking about AEW and discussing whether or not that AEW has fell off. And I have been watching AEW from the start, since the very first show, Double or Nothing 2019, and I just remember how exciting that show was and how much hype there was around it. The show was brilliant start to finish, and there really was something in the air in AEW for the first year or so.
Seeing All In, I was so happy because finally there was an alternative to the WWE, and at the time, WWE was not cooking. So I was so happy for AEW. I was so blessed for AEW because honestly, what WWE was producing, it just wasn't for me. So that's why AEW was doing so great when they first started. Because it was just a breath of fresh air for us wrestling fans that always wanted a true alternative to WWE.
That the run of shows AEW put on from the very first AEW Dynamite in October 2019 up until Revolution in February 2020 is some of the best wrestling TV of all time and one of the greatest wrestling runs on TV. Argue with your mother. But that feeling AEW used to have just isn't there anymore. And why is that?
Because Tony Khan is a mark, because Tony Khan wants to be friends with all the wrestlers, because Tony Khan needs to hire people to help him. Tony Khan needs to hire a creative team. Tony Khan needs direction. Tony Khan needs a direction in the women's division. Tony Khan needs to start putting Swerve in almost every single main event. I don't know. Just a few.
AEW was always going to change. It was always going to evolve over time, and the product was going to change a bit. But it could be argued that right now, it's devolving and going backwards. And I think the best example of AEW going backwards is with the signing of Ric Flair, which of course happened last week, on a show that also saw Paul White be revealed as the partners to Kenny Omega.
I can't defend this, and I won't defend this because I was highly upset. I was like, why? What are you doing? Because it was in the same week it was Ric Flair and Paul White. Like, what are you doing? So I am not defending this. But also, this video was made 3 weeks ago. Obviously, he had the match, one and done. We are moving forward from it.
Kota Ibushi and Chris Jericho in their match against the Callis family. Both of these two things are just things that would never happen in early AEW. And if you compare an episode of AEW Dynamite now to an early AEW Dynamite episode, you will see a lot of key differences. More comedy segments, less homegrown stars on the show, and more ex-WWE talent on the shows. And listen, signing and using talent that used to work for the WWE is not an issue for AEW. They're allowed to do it. But when you are signing them just to make zero changes to their characters and do nothing different with them booking wise to where they used to be, then we're not seeing anything new. We're not seeing the alternative wrestling product that we wanted to see.
I think Andrade is going back to
the opposite of this is Toni Storm. AEW have given her a whole new lease of life with her brand new character, and as a result, she's one of the most compelling, interesting, and I feel must-watch people in wrestling right now. But then on the opposite spectrum, you have wrestlers like Saraya, who, as much as I do actually like her, to me just feels like she's still Paige. But to be fair to AEW, there is definitely...
Timeless Tony is carrying the women's division. We have great women. We have Julia Hart, we have Sky Blue, Emi Sakura. I love her. I know she's from Ring of Honor. I don't think she's a full AEW talent, but she should be. I think she's spectacular. We're still waiting on Jamie Hayter. We have Britt Baker, who's probably the devil. But it is unfortunate because when Saraya debuted, I believe we all had high expectations for the women's division. We finally thought, all right, great. Now the women can cook. Now they'll have this locker room leader. And unfortunately, that was not the case. It was a fumble. It was a huge fumble. They did give the title to Paige because it was in her hometown, but having the women's title hot potato like that, only for it to go back to Tony, which is a great decision. It just seems so unnecessary. It just seems like they were just doing random decisions, and I need the women's division to cook. I needed to cook because WWE's division is cooking. Impact's wrestling is cooking. So I need something, and I need it now.
Something that has caused a big shift in the talent that we see on TV.
Ooh, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. They're not making it easy for me.
And that, of course, is injuries. AEW's high work rate style means that wrestlers are more susceptible to injury, and in the year of 2023, AEW has had their fair share of injuries, and what's made it worse is that it's many of AEW's top stars who have been injured and left out of action. It's not just anyone, it's some of the biggest names in the company. You've got Adam Cole's recent injury, Moxley had to lose the international title due to injury, and Bryan Danielson has been injured twice this year. Something you don't want when he is now the face of one of AEW's TV shows.
Yeah, Collision.
A show.
Well, not only that, he's on his final run. Like, this is sad. Oh, they're gonna. Okay, yeah. I knew these pictures were coming.
That really isn't doing well in ratings and attendance right now, and a show that could really use Bryan Danielson on it. And not to mention, we also had Jamie Hayter getting injured and having to lose her AEW women's title in the middle of a very good reign and at a very unfortunate time as All In Wembley was coming up. But where these injuries really hurt AEW isn't so much for the fact that they're getting injured and they're losing these talent on TV. It's for the fact that they don't really have a plan B for when AEW wrestlers get injured and they're in major storylines. They have no idea what to do with those storylines and have no sort of backup plan, which they should do because they have more than enough roster depth to be able to do that. And a great example of this is going back to Jamie Hayter. After Jamie Hayter lost the belt, what was AEW's plan B here, you ask? Well, they had Toni Storm squash Jamie for it, lose it to Shida weeks later, who then lost it to Saraya at All In, who, guess what, lost it about a month later back to Shida, and now it's seeming like Toni Storm is about to reclaim it from Shida, meaning we've just gone full circle and not much has really been achieved. Jamie Hayter lost the Women's World title, and as a result, the AEW Women's World title's credibility has been really hurt ever since Jamie Hayter lost it. It seems as though whenever a big name in a storyline gets injured in AEW and plans change, they hold off on doing anything major with them until the original plans can be done again, rather than making a new plan that is on the same level as the original one, which once again is so incredibly possible to do because of AEW's deep roster depth. So yes, injuries are a key factor that have led to AEW falling off a bit and AEW's product quality starting to drop, but it's AEW's poor booking around those issues and backup plans which is causing even more issue. But to me overall, there was one key reason that I think AEW just feels completely different right now.
Perception? What, the perception of the wrestling fandom?
Perception is everything in wrestling. How the fans view the product and invest themselves is again everything. AEW, when it first started, was the alternative. They packed houses based on that, and watching AEW felt completely different to watching Vince McMahon's WWE at the time. Whereas now, WWE has been taken over by Triple H and has a completely different product, feel, and fan perception.
Yeah.
They are now the hot product, whereas AEW is the show signing Ric Flair in 2023 with dwindling attendances. You compare the two, and it's night and day at the moment. The perception of WWE right now is one that's in a lot better place than AEW right now.
Who is that? The GOAT! The GOAT, Logan Paul! That's who it is! You're United States champion!
And that's an issue for AEW. A lot of AEW fans currently say that right now, AEW is too much like the WWE, and to be honest, I can sort of see it. We now have 3 TV shows per week, monthly pay-per-views, and the cards are littered with ex-WWE talent. This is nothing like how AEW used to be. And when AEW are acting very similar to the WWE in terms of product, then why even watch
The 3 shows, the monthly pay-per-views, at least have a subscription service, because expecting your fans to pay $50 for a pay-per-view is inane, especially when you had one back-to-back, like All In and All Out. Like, come on, if you want eyes to your product and if you want more people to enjoy the pay-per-views, make it more accessible for people to be able to watch it. Also, this was funny because I remember a long time ago, Chris Jericho tweeted out when WWE had the zombie segment, and then they had this on AEW. Yeah.
AEW. Just watch WWE because A, they are WWE, and B, they're doing it better right now than AEW are. I still think that when watching AEW, you can tell a clear difference between it and the WWE, but it is straying further away, and I know I've said this so many times, but it really is starting to feel less like the alternative. But the thing with AEW is that
they always bring me back, yes! This is what I've been saying.
Man, the AEW looks card tonight. Even in a not so good period for the company right now, I'm still excited over this card. You got 2 homegrown stars in MJF and Daniel Garcia fighting over the world title, a Hoss match between Samoa Joe and Keith Lee, Penta vs Swerve, a Tony Storm segment, and more. This is a July 2021 level AEW card.
I don't know if he was trying to diss Ishida, but I appreciate it.
A very good card, a level of card they have more than enough facilities to do every week. It really is this easy to get people interested to watch the shows. In 2020 and 2021, we were getting cards of this caliber every single Dynamite, and that was with a much thinner roster. So what's the excuse for why we aren't getting cards like this every single week? It is possible. But TK, whatever you do though, please, and I mean please, just don't put Ric Flair on any of these cards.
Please. Let me know which video you want me to react to next. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for daily and weekly notifications. Until next time.